Thank you so much, Anshul. I think you helped me wake up everyone after lunch. Actually, I seriously just realized that my session was right after lunch, and I was wondering, like, okay, it's been a full 2-day session, and right after lunch probably is the worst timing to have a session. But I think, Anshul, you helped me to wake these people up. Okay, so just a quick introduction to myself. I'm Kirti Kumaravelu. I'm currently working for Lego. The fact is, I just joined Lego less than a month ago, so I'm very new to Lego. I just got the onboarding on the history and stuff, and absolutely right. Everything, the way Lego turned over was based on consumer insights. So you know how important the qualitative and of course the quantitative as well has been for Lego. So prior to Lego, my entire career has been with Procter & Gamble. And so after Procter & Gamble with Lego, and I have been in consumer insights and strategy throughout my entire career. Okay, so today the topic I'm going to talk about is digital, and specifically on the importance of staying qualitative while we go digital. And when they told me that, can you do a speech on this, I was thinking, okay, what do I share? Let me actually bounce off this topic with some of my friends. And I was asking someone, and she said that, what do you mean by staying qualitative when we go digital? It makes no sense. Like, when you say digital, and this person has the same background as me, right? So we do business optimization, and she was like, the minute I think about digital, I only think about, okay, this is not working. How do I make this work? Oh, it's down. Okay. So thank you. So when we think about digital optimization, the first thing that pops up top of mind for probably most of us is analytics, right? We do Google Analytics, YouTube Analytics, and Facebook, and everything whatsoever. But the thing is that no one thinks about the qualitative aspects. And the biggest reason why we don't think about it is because all of us, most of us, has built our career with the traditional marketing touch points. Digital is such a new space to us that we are more comfortable to make decisions on digital, especially the leadership team, based on data. So if you tell them that banners XYZ are better than banners ABC, they feel more comfortable and they feel that we could invest better in that compared to saying, oh, the qualitative research said this, let's make a $50 million decision on that. There's like, oh my gosh, there's no data, there's no justification to that, right? So my whole takeaway today is going to be that analytics is great, but that alone has not been sufficient. And the approach I'm going to take is to share with you a real life case, a real life business situation that I led at P&G, and how we leveraged quantitative study at the start, which really helped build our business. It really drove our ROIs up in the initial stage, but at some point we saturated. We couldn't drive our business anymore, and from there we moved on to qualitative, and how we leveraged qualitative that completely redefined how we went to go to market in digital space. Yep. So we move on. Okay, this is probably like the most boring slide you'll see. I'm not going to go through the details, but the reason why I wanted to show you this is that when we were doing digital research for that particular business, we realized that we were unable to move beyond descriptive analytics. We were stuck at descriptive analytics. So what do you mean by descriptive analytics, right? So what we found out from the analytics we did was that some banners are good, some banners are not good, and so we chucked out those banners which are not good. We don't put money in that anymore, and we invested in the banners that were good, and it drove our business up. So the first round of analytics was fantastic, and even P&G, a kind of a company, the minute you see success in something, there's such a huge amount of funding, we start to pump in a lot of money. We want to do a lot of analytics. And we started doing waves. So we did wave 1, we did wave 2, we did wave 3, 4 of digital analytics. And we realized that wave 2, 3, 4 didn't drive any ROI at all for us. Wave 1 did that. but wave 2, 3 didn't do. So we tried to find what was really happening, right? But this is what was happening. Because we couldn't answer why the question of why is it that waves 2 and 3 weren't adding any value. So we thought that it was probably because we were not putting enough money, and we kept putting more money. So we kept investing more and more. And then we kept going down the drain of like, okay, something is wrong, let's figure out. And so we asked ourselves, maybe we should compare all the different waves and see. Why is it that wave 1 was good and 2 and 3 isn't good? So we put all the insights from all the waves, and we realized that the insights from the first wave was exactly the same as the insights from the second and third waves. So in the first wave, we had already actioned all the insights that we had found. But in wave 2 and 3, it was exactly the same insights. The study was not to blame. The study was perfect. It was doing great. But it's just that we were not asking any new questions to the consumer, and we were not getting any new insights, right? So what we did after that is we tried to ask new questions. So we brainstormed and we asked new questions, and we actually, it shouldn't be wave 2 and 3, but we did like 4 and 5, and we asked new questions, but there was still no impact. Nothing. So we spent thousands of dollars, and we asked new questions, but there was still no new insights. And the reason was this. I don't want to say what that X% really is. It's just some random number, but I just want to show that this was the digital knowledge gap that we had in our business team. We executed based on this X% of digital knowledge. We knew this much, just X%, and based on that we were executing, and based on that execution we were optimizing. So we kept optimizing within that same bucket, and there's only so much you could get from there. And it's saturated. We couldn't go beyond that. And we had no idea how do we fill that gap, right? And digital as a space is so dynamic. It is always constantly evolving. So we didn't know where to go as well. So we thought, okay, we must be able to do something about this. And finally, after spending so much of money, we decided that we will go qualitative. After a lot of push, because as I said up front in the start, there is always this comfort with data analytics because it has solid proof. But in qualitative, there is always, there's a wariness, especially in a space like digital where people don't know what digital is about. So the next part is really the story, which I think is the interesting part. This was actually an in-home visit, which was the trigger for P&G for my business, which started off the phase that helped us redefine our entire digital strategy. So this story is about a 60-year-old woman. She is married, husband retired, they have children are married, she has grandkids, and very happy couple, enjoying life, and with lots of money, she gets pension. So the key recruitment criteria for her is that she has to be shopping online. So I traveled all the way from here, and I went to Japan. And on the first day of the in-home visit, my moderator asks the consumer, so how do you actually shop online? And she says this, I don't shop online. And I look at my agency, it's like, what? I just traveled all the way from Singapore to Japan, and we came here for research, and you just recruited someone who is not shopping online, right? And my agency was very equally confused. And the consumer continues. She says this, I don't shop online, but I shop with my husband, and my husband helps me buy things online. And this is something we never knew. Like, if you think about it, in a quantitative study, I would have never asked the question of, do you shop with your husband? I don't think I have seen anyone do that in Singapore, and I never knew that it happens at all elsewhere. So the first aha moment is that we have to tweak the way we ask questions in our quantitative study. And the reason why she said that I don't shop online is because she doesn't see herself shopping online. But in the recruitment question, we've asked her, have you bought products online? To which she said, yes, I had bought products online. But when I did my quantitative waves 1, 2, 3, I would never have got the insights from this consumer because she would have dropped out. in that quantitative study, because she would have just ticked the box that she doesn't shop online, and I would have just lost a big portion of my rep. So we went to the study expecting to see this, the lady shopping in front of us, but it went from that to this. Both of them were shopping together. And it was such an interesting experience, really, and it's one of my best in-home visits I've ever had. And just to capture this conversation they had throughout the entire shop to path to purchase process online, just very short, because it was like a 30 minutes conversation with her, so this was a short one, right? So just a caveat here, the wife, she is my key target consumer. Husband, honestly, I don't care about him. But you will see how big an influence he has on what his wife actually purchases. So she starts off saying, hey, I was talking about this product, I want to buy it, and these people want to see me shopping for it online. So he says, okay, sure, I hear brand X and Y is good. So with his first sentence, he has already filtered to X and Y. There was like ABC and so many others, and she just says okay to it. So he just said something, X and Y, and for no reason, she just said okay. And then, we went on, and he says, let's look at a website ABC, rankings and review, and she just says, okay, fine, go on, continue, I'll just observe. And then he says, yeah, both brands seems to be good, so what color do you want to buy? She says, yeah, white and pink looks nice, what do you think? He says, white is nice on you, and again, she goes back to this monotonous okay, like, okay, fine, I'll take white. Then he says, that's a very good deal, and she's like, okay, that's great. And he says, let's buy it now. He takes out his credit card and he says, let's buy it. And this is a huge conversation, right? I'm not capturing everything. It went on like for 30 minutes. They compared so many different sites. And after this, the first time she ever says no is she says, I don't want you to buy it right now. I just want to research some more. And I was very disappointed because this same person, for 30 minutes, she agreed to everything her husband said, but at the end of it, when he was about to buy, and he was willing to buy it, she didn't want to say okay to that. And what do you think happened that they actually bought it on the day. So in just a matter of few seconds, she completely changed her mind. So she went from the frame of, I will not buy this today, to ending up to buying it, and not just buying it, but buying the most expensive product line. What do you think happened? Can I ask someone? Can I ask you? Yeah, you? Any thoughts? I will just give you a hint. So it is actually something that her husband said to her from a very emotional context. Sorry? I'll give it to you. Yeah, something along that line. He said, I'm buying it for you. It is my gift to you. And this is a 60-year-old couple, and she was blushing, and she was so happy that her husband is gifting something to her that is so expensive. That was a $300 product. And she was like, yes, okay. She went from the side of like, let's research some more, this is so expensive, to like, oh, yes, I'm so happy about this purchase. So this completely changed the way we looked at the way that our target consumer is shopping, right? The way we had historically thought about it was there's always a very functional context. Like, she would be comparing different products over different rankings, sites, etc. But there was such an emotional context that we had never known, which was the gap I told you, like I showed you in the graph. And because of this, we never knew what were the right questions to ask in our quantitative. So even if we spent much more, there's no further insights we could get. And so this was the Eureka moment for us. We found out that what was important to him became important to her. And she never shops alone. She always shops together with her husband. And this was not a one-off case. We obviously tested, we went on to explore and see if this is true. And yes, so we realized that we have to have a functional aspect, we have to have an emotional aspect, and that changed everything in how we went to market in digital in Japan. So the key takeaway for our team was this, that quantitative analytics, it helped us optimize within the existing bucket in which we were executing, which is that X%, that small percentage in that graph. But we cannot go beyond that without that qualitative, which really filled that gap in our digital knowledge. It helped us, it really enabled us to ask the right questions and look at digital in a very holistic frame, and really enabled us to drive the business. So this is actually my last slide. What I want to say before I close off is I wasn't here to share any tools or anything. The key thing I wanted to share is that we should all take a step back and realize the importance of qualitative, especially when it comes to digital, because this when my experience is in a business team, there is so much of push from the leaders to look at only data in digital space, not the qualitative. So if you're from the agency, go back to your clients today, and if you're doing digital research, to push them to understand there's a need for holistic research when it comes to digital. And if you're from the brand team, from the business side, I hope you realize that quantitative alone is not going to help you to innovate and go beyond what you know. You really need to have that qualitative perspective. Yep. So thank you so much.